Hi, everyone. So I want to real quickly walk you through this lab activity just in case anyone is looking for some extra help in how you're going to complete this lab. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be practicing motion graphs. And I'm actually going to leave this open as well as your Ed puzzle open because some people will choose to go in the order of exploring the motion graphs and then taking the notes on the motion graphs. And that's what I would like for you to do, but I don't want to force you to submit this until you can go through the notes and then kind of get the help that you need if you need extra help. Okay. So I hope that that makes sense in just me explaining it, that I'm going to leave this as open. Don't forget to submit it, but you can move on and listen to the notes or watch the notes after you complete most of this lab and then come back to this lab and kind of fix the parts where you were a little confused. Okay. So hopefully that's going to help you guys ease a little bit of the anxiety. I know that it's a lot of work. I know that it's frustrating. And I just want to help you guys the best that I can. So when you're looking at this lab activity, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to make some predictions, okay? So for each of the following situations, predict how the given motion will be graphed on a position versus time graph, and then also do a velocity versus time graph. Now, another thing that you can do is I know that a lot of you guys FaceTime with each other, and so maybe you can FaceTime with a friend that you have in class and you guys can work on this lab together. Labs are always done better together. I think it's just easier to bounce your ideas off of each other, not copy, not say, oh, well, you do this half and I do that half. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about just in general so that you guys can work together. So right here, it says an object at rest. So at a non-zero location. So how would I draw that? The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to go to drawing and new. Okay. And then if I want to draw a line, so if it's not moving, it's at rest. Okay. So I'm going to choose a line and then I'm going to make my line like this. Okay. And sorry about that. I'm going to make my line like this. Okay, I'm going to make it straight and I'm going to increase my line weight so it's a little bit bigger of a line. Okay, and I can even change my line color. Okay, and then I'm going to save and close. The next thing that I'm going to do, see, it's all the way down here and I don't want it all the way down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose wrap text and I'm going to move my object up to my question that I was at. And I want that to be at a non-zero location. I'm going to actually shorten my line. Okay, that didn't work very well. But you kind of get the idea. So I probably need a little bit shorter of a line, but my object at rest at non-zero location. Okay, then what is my velocity versus time graph going to be? So I'm actually going to copy that image. Okay, I'm going to copy this image. And I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm going to bring that down to my zero location. Okay, so I want my location to be on my zero line. Okay, and for the sake of time, so the little cursor that I've got going for this screencast is not very helpful because it's blocking my ability to be able to do that, but that should be on my zero line because my velocity is zero. Okay, and so you're going to go ahead and you're going to do that. Okay, and then what you're going to do is You're going to do that for all of these other ones. So an object moving at constant velocity, so in the positive direction, then an object speeding up, an object slowing down. So how would you sketch those and then go ahead and embed those sketches right here? The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to click here on phet.colorado.edu, the simulation of moving man. And so you are going to use this. And what I want you to choose is I want you to choose the browser compatible version. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my screen, and you could even split your screen. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to make that smaller and make this smaller so I can look at my, let me close some things here. I can look at my lab while I'm also looking at my lab handout while I'm also looking at the PHET lab here. Okay. So as that's loading, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of these questions. So it says an object moves with constant positive velocity. What does this motion look like on a position versus time graph and on a velocity versus time graph? So what you're going to do in this lab activity is you're going to end up having this moving person, and that moving person is you're going to be able to move that in a positive direction. So positive velocity. Okay, so here is my moving man graph, and it says an object moves with constant positive velocity. So when I look at my moving man graph, what I want to do is I want to change, and I want to actually go to my charts, okay? And going to my charts is going to allow me to see the graphs. So a constant positive velocity. So if I want to change that, let's say I change that to 3 meters per second, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And when I hit play, okay, my man is moving in this case, and my motion is being graphed. My motion is being graphed in my position versus time, my velocity versus time, and my acceleration versus time. Okay. And so what you can do is you can actually take a screenshot of the different parts of these labs or of these graphs, and you can embed that into your lab, but showing that you're seeing what those graphs look like. Okay. So that's what you're going to do for that. And then you're going to go ahead and answer the rest of these questions. So in these questions, it talks about an object. So we have a man that's moving, but adjust the man and change the man, manipulate what you need to be able to answer these questions. After you finish that, then you have some different examples, and you can see if you can recreate this or what you think, how can you describe this motion? So like, for example, this is a position versus time graph. What's happening in this position versus time graph? Okay. And then go ahead and go down. And then what do you think the velocity versus time graph is going to look like? So go ahead and explain that. So there are a handful of different questions in this for you to explore motion graphs, because motion graphs are very important. You're going to have to be able to match motion graphs. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. If it wasn't, please go ahead and email me, and I will try to create something a little bit more helpful.